Hey, welcome everybody. It is 7 o'clock Wednesday night. Time for Sci-Fi Distilled. Welcome back, Mary Beth. How are you?
I am awesome. Well, I'm mostly awesome.
Mostly awesome. Mostly.
Well, first of all, we have a heat wave here. I don't know if you have the same heat warning that we have.
It's been in around the low 90s. Got up to today.
Yeah, so. we've had a heat advisory. It is toasty here. But
yeah, well, I think that's most of the Northeast is that way. So if you're
most of the Northeast, yeah.
Well, stay indoors. Hope you have air conditioning. Lots of water.
Air conditioners. Oh yeah, got my water.
Yeah. It is July.
Living in an old. It is July. July in New England when you live in an old house.
It's not. I wouldn't consider this out of the ordinary heat for July.
The humidity. I've got 63% inside, so I don't know. It's rough. Oh, there's Phil.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so we are continuing with our kind of obscure 70s sci-fi. This one came out after Star Wars. Was a definite reaction to Star Wars. It was
indeed it was. No matter how much
Starcrash.
The director said no.
It was made in Italy. It has some names you would recognize, but we'll go into that later. It's an interesting film if you've never seen it. So
it is a doozy.
But before we get into that, I think we have some bunch of news.
I got a little bit of news. We got some things we can talk about tonight. Tomorrow. So everyone who is listening, I need your opinion on something, although I think I've already asked you this. Strange New World starts tomorrow. Would you like Rizzo and I to do kind of a he said, she said, or a 3-minute review again? What do you guys think? Or do you just want the season to pass quietly and unnoted? We can do it either way.
Starts tomorrow. It drops tomorrow.
It drops tomorrow. I probably won't watch it till Fridays. But what I want to do was he said, she said, where I was going to give Rizzo 1 minute and me 1 minute. And Rizzo will say the things he doesn't like. Which I'm
will
sure
be most of it.
And then I will try to defend it as best I can and say what was good. So I think that's fair. I think that's a fair.
I mean, if that's something, I'm happy to do that. Did you watch the Dave Cullen video I sent you?
No, I didn't. I did not. I'm sorry. So, I did watch an interview with Anson Mount on Michael Rosenbaum's Inside of You, which was interesting.
So I don't know if anybody watched Dave Cullen. He's a YouTuber. He's always commenting on movies and TV shows, and he's usually on the negative side. And he's not always right, but he nailed Strange New Worlds. What I've been saying since the first season, which is, you get the silly episodes. 2 or 3 silly episodes a season, and we only get 10 episodes total. So, he was like, yes, the original series had some campy episodes, but, we got 27 in a season. So that's kind of the difference.
So
and then he had a whole thing about Spock and how they got Spock completely wrong. And again, I agree. They don't know how to write that character. And I think it's really, they've not done it justice at all. It's just been silly. Too much laughing Spock in this show, in my opinion. So anyway, if you get I don't know if you want to drop that link, or I could drop the link in the chat if anybody's interested.
Oh yes, I have it somewhere.
Yeah, it should be in our chat somewhere. So
yeah, I'll try to get it up while.
So anyway, I thought that, but we'll see. Again, judging by what I've seen so far for trailers for Strange New World season 3,
it's gonna be all
not optimistic.
Yeah,
so
it's gonna be all over the place. And Anson, if you watch the Inside of You interview, he didn't vigorously defend it. He defended it, but it was not the most vigorous defense I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Bill, not 60 minutes, 60 seconds. Rizzo will give me 60 seconds I'll give Rizzo 60 seconds, and he'll give me 60 seconds. That's it. All right, moving on.
Enough time. We may have to go to more than 60 seconds.
All right, 90 seconds. I mean, I don't want to belabor this thing because whatever episode, we gotta move on to do what we're doing. Like
it'll
right
see
now.
how bad it is, I guess. So anyway, what else we got?
Previously, right here on Sci-Fi Distilled, I reported that Stranger Things season 5 had the following schedule. They're going to be dropping 3 or 4 episodes on Thanksgiving, and then 3 or 2 episodes on Christmas, and the season finale is New Year's Eve. Well, Netflix has just dropped a brand new trailer for this upcoming season. It looks so good. I gotta tell you, it looks really awesome. I'm getting really hyped for it. Let me drop that trailer in the chat right now. What did you think? You don't really watch Stranger Things, or do you, Rizzo?
Oh no, I do. My daughter. It was funny because I didn't start watching it till season 2 or 2 had already finished. I think when I started watching season 1. And there's Phil.
Phil's gonna be
no camera. But Phil's gonna jump in because he actually likes this movie.
I'm still doing the news, Phil. But anyway.
Yeah, but anyway,
I'm having trouble hearing you. I don't know.
Wait. That's okay. We're just doing the news.
We also don't have any picture, Phil.
I'm good.
Okay. Anyway, so I am a fan of the show. My daughter was the one that actually kept pushing. She said, you like it because it was from the 80s and a lot of 80s stuff. So I did like it. My thing is, it's gotten to the point where these kids must have like children by now of their own. That's why I said they should just call it Strange New Worlds: The Next Generation.
Yeah.
Or Stranger Things: The Next Generation.
Stranger Things: The Next Generation. Yeah.
Just have it their kids going through the upside down world.
But I gotta tell you, in the trailer, they look good. Like they kind of still basally look there.
Yeah, I did. I will agree with that. But it's just kind of. It's been. When was the last season? It's been like years.
A year. 2 years? It's been a while.
Oh, it's been more than, I think it's been at least 2 years, probably more than that. Somebody in the chat must know when the last one dropped. I think it's closer to 3 years ago, at least.
It's been a hot minute.
It was like the whole COVID thing threw them off, and no, I want to say like 22 was the last.
Yeah, maybe I can try see if I can look it up like super fast.
I don't know, but anyway, and I don't understand why it took so long. I'm sure there's some reason, but anyway.
Yeah, so the season 4 debuted May 27, 2022, and wrapped up July 1, 2022. So it's been 3 years. It's been
3 years. I told you, 3 years between seasons is crazy. I mean, you just forget about it. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I
really
gotta go back
the same hype for people like, all right, I'll watch it, because it's not like, I don't know, kind of lost its.
Here, I'm gonna drop that Dave Cullen interview.
What do you guys think? I mean, in the chat, I mean, it's kind of quiet in the chat here all of a sudden, but I mean, are you guys excited for Stranger Things, the final season, coming to a Netflix?
Coming to a Netflix near you.
I noticed the Happy Gilmore 2 will be dropping soon on Netflix. I see, not that that's sci-fi, but
the coming attractions
Subway's already started promoting it because the Shooter McGavin stuff. So
yeah. All right, moving on.
I definitely watch it. I hope they do it in the vein that it should be done, and not they don't make it stupid. Yeah, but it is stupid. Yeah, it's a stupid movie, but
I agree.
Anyway, what else we got?
Superman, they have raked in over 220 million, which more or less just this opening weekend. They got a lot more to come, but that pretty much covers their budget more or less. So they've broken even. Good for you, Superman. Side note: dog shelters report interests in adoptions are up over 500% since that movie came out.
Really? Only white terriers.
Only white terriers. No, not really. Murderbot wrapped up, and they got the season 2 green light. Given the way it ended, I won't spoil it. But given the way it ended, I do expect all new characters and adventures for our favorite Sec unit. But I have not read the books, so I don't know how close they're staying to those books. I don't know. Did you read them, Rizzo, or no?
No, I'd never heard of it until it popped up on.
Until it was on TV, yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm loving it. And you guys, if you haven't watched it, it's on Apple.
Yeah, it's on Apple TV.
It's a little short 20-minute episodes, but they just go, and there's so much fun, and there's a lot of
they don't take themselves too
humor
serious.
in it. Yeah,
it's not too serious.
It's not too serious.
Also just started is Foundation is back for season 3.
Foundation is back, yeah.
Foundation, if you're a fan, I like Foundation. I know a lot of people were really upset with it because it doesn't follow the books very accurately, and they kind of played around with characters, which is fine. And I knew they were going to do that, but I think as a standalone show, if you don't keep trying to compare it to the books, which were brilliant.
Yes, of course they were. Yes.
I mean, Asimov, it's brilliant. It's still an entertaining show.
Yes.
I would just take it like this. So if you're really a big fan of the books and you're not going to be able, maybe it's not for you, but if you never read the books, absolutely go watch it.
And he's still talking about Foundation, just so you guys know. Dr. Alexander says that Murderbot is sort of close to the books. So, yeah, I don't know where they're going to go season 2. We'll see. But I really enjoyed season 1. And then finally in the news tonight, guys, Rizzo and I are not super award show people, but the last Oscars that were on, I watched them and I was like, I do not know any of these movies, and I kind of gave up. But the Emmy nominations are in, and it was a very good year for sci-fi. The 77th Emmy nominations, 77th Emmys rather, are not until September, but the nominations are in now, and many of our favorites have been recognized, with Severance leading the pack at 27 nods. Penguin, the one with Colin Farrell, got 24, and it was excellent. And Andor got 14.
And that was
in the best drama category. Andor got a nod. Severance, Last of Us, White Lotus, and a couple others. I'll skip ahead. Limited or Anthology, Black Mirror, and Penguin. Why was Penguin? Oh, because it was limited. Short mini.
And it was technically.
Colin Farrell got the nod.
Even though there was no Batman in it, there was
no Batman.
Sort of Batman.
And he wasn't a penguin.
No,
don't go in looking
at least
for.
Not at this point in the story. I don't know if they're going to have another season, or was that it?
I don't know either. Yeah. Lead actress Britt Lauer from Severance and Bella Ramsey from Last of Us. The lead actor category is off the hook. Every single one of these men are phenomenal. It's Sterling K. Brown, Gary Oldman for Slow Horses, Pedro Pascal for Last of Us, Adam Scott for Severance, and Noah Wyle for The Pit. White Lotus all over the place for supporting actress. Supporting actor is a whole mess of Severance, White Lotus.
I saw something that this is the first time that Harrison Ford has been nominated.
Yes. Harrison Ford got, at 83 years old, he got his very first nomination for Shrinking.
Shrinking is a very good show. Yes.
It is a very good show. Yeah. He was so good.
If you like Ted Lasso, you definitely would like Shrinking. It's kind of on a similar vein. It's kind of upbeat, but there's some sad stuff to it. But it's kind of, and there's going to be Ted Lasso another season. So see how that plans out when that drops. Finally.
Yes, Ted Lasso is getting a fourth season.
Another season, yeah.
And then just a few other people I'll point out. Gwendolyn Christie got it for a nod for Severance. Giancarlo Esposito got it for The Boys. I am rooting for you, Giancarlo. Joey Pants, that's right, Joey Pantaleone, and Jeffrey Wright both got it for The Last of Us. Forrest Whitaker got a nomination for Andor. Catherine O'Hara got a nomination for Last of Us. So, yeah, the sci-fi, like all my favorite shows are all over the board, and I'm excited. This is the first time I'm going to be watching an award show in a couple years because I haven't been watching.
I still won't watch it, but
I like this. Like I like when the shows I like.
I know. I don't know. I'm just not an award show guy. So
all right, Rizzo, what are we drinking tonight?
I actually found a drink called a Stella Star.
Oh my god.
Which the funny thing about the name is Stella, I believe in Latin is star.
Is star. Her name is Star.
Star. Well, they were saying the director apparently names all his female leads Stella. It's like he's like a thing with Stella.
That's the Italian.
The guy that wrote it, rather. So anyway, it's a mango nectar, pineapple juice, very fruity, white rum, and cream of coconut.
She is the star.
Very tropical drink, not Italian at all.
Delicious.
But it could be good. So anyway, give it a shot.
Right, so just so everybody knows what's happening, just before the show started, Phil started watching this movie and he was live posting me updates like, oh, we're to this scene, I'm to this scene, and he was loving it. Phil, tell us what you think of Starcrash.
It's a brilliant piece of film history. I believe, since it's award season, I believe Stella Star's bikini should win an award.
Best costume or lack thereof.
It was just incredible, and I love the close-ups. Now that you just explained about Stella Star, that reminds me so much of Manos: The Hands of Fate, which
Manos,
great comparison. But no, it was a lot of fun. But I think you watch this for a couple of reasons, none of which include the script. You watch it for the John Barry score. You watch it to see your pieces of your MPC Space 1999 Eagle model kit stuck to the spaceships in this show, because you can identify them, and all the model pieces are still on the sprues on the ship models.
Yeah.
I saw that. Yeah.
And you watch it for the bikini, and that's basically it. It's just great, and it had everything I could ever want. I mean, it had the bikini, it had the Planet of the Amazons. It was just, and then it had David Hasselhoff. And in the middle of it, I'm like, now I'm falling in love with David Hasselhoff. So it's just one after the other. It was great. It was really great.
He was
before
so
there
young
was Knight Rider.
Yeah, before there was Knight Rider.
So, it's funny you mentioned talking about the bikini, because if you notice towards the second half of the movie, she's not as scantily clad. And that was specifically done because for the American audience, that they didn't think they could get this past TV censors, because they know it was going to be on television. So that was one of the reasons why in the later half of the movie, she's more in that kind of whatever the hell she's wearing.
That Gossamer thing, yeah.
She's wearing a see-through raincoat.
Yeah, she's wearing
there's that point. And apparently when she was wearing that, she was having some rather strong intestinal distress.
A couple of them.
She was quoted in an interview saying it was a good thing she was wearing a plastic suit over that, because it
oh my God,
it could have been bad. So
Rizzo, you're taking the magic out of this film for me now.
I'm sorry, but this is what we do. We dissect the film.
Now I'll put the magic back in. This cast, like when you see the cast interviews, they were having the time of their lives. They loved
Christopher Plummer. And Christopher Plummer only took the job so he could get a trip to Rome.
Yeah, he's like,
he was paid $10,000 a day, and they shot most of his stuff within a day. And he didn't care. He's like, I know it's gonna be a piece of crap, but I just get a free trip to Rome.
It's Rome. I'm going to Rome.
He wanted to go to Rome. That was his only thing. He didn't care. Because he's just thinking he was already pretty established by the time of this movie. So it's like, why are you doing this piece of crap?
Although you have to admit, Rizzo, his opening monologue is his first, when he first enters, that monologue and costume was just great. It was perfect. It like really stood out in a sea of mediocrity,
Well, because he's a real professional actor that has, presence and all that stuff. And he'd be like putting, I don't know, pick anybody that. I'm trying to think of somebody of merit that you'd stick in there, and Orson Welles or something did the monologue. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it just has weight. So I don't know. I don't think I'd ever. When I watched it the other day, I think it's the first time. I know I've seen clips of it, but I've never seen this movie beginning to end.
Oh, really?
No, not until just this last pass of it. No, I never watched it. I'd heard of it. It was one of those ones. These are the movies that stocked the VHS rental places for years, when there just wasn't enough stuff, newer stuff, because they didn't put how long it took Star Wars to end up on a VHS so you could rent it. It was things like that. So it was like, we got this crap.
Yeah.
And you would rent it
at the same time. At the same time, Rizzo, with Star Wars, people were dying for science fiction content, and this is like really stepping up and putting product out there. It's not good product, but it's product. It's not Coca-Cola. It's RCA. It's RC Cola.
Not
I
even
forgot the original studio passed on it when it was done. Like they were like, yeah, we're not going to release this, and then
it was David, it was. I know who it was. New World Cinema, that guy.
New World
Dave,
Cinema. Yeah, they came in and said, "We'll run
Roger
it. We don't care."
Corman of New World Pictures. Yeah.
Right, and Roger Corman
you
was
know
using this, by the way, he was using this as a gauge to see how well it did, so that he could do Battle of the Planets or Battle Beyond the Stars.
Battle Beyond the Stars.
Battle Beyond the Stars, which came out several years later. So yeah, I mean, it's
yeah.
I don't know. It's
when you have a movie that you're watching it and you're like, wow, David Hasselhoff's a really good actor. You know that movie's bad.
Well, when he's one of the better in it. I mean,
him and what's his name?
And Plummer,
yeah. And they only had Plummer, and the reason why they had Plummer was because Star Wars had Alec Guinness, so they needed to get like.
Yeah,
they
clearly ripped a ton off of Star Wars. I mean, the opening scene with the ship, the
overhead ship.
Everybody used that after that for like ever. Even Alien used it. You know what I'm saying? That was like the shot of space adventure. But we've talked about this before. Prior to Star Wars, all the 70s, particularly 70s sci-fi, was dystopian.
Yes. You
know what I'm saying? It was all like, when you think about it, you had Logan's Run, Soylent Green, Planet of the Apes, all future not looking good for the humans. And then Star Wars is like, oh, hey, look, it could be fun, adventurous. And so they kind of were trying to play off that with this film and just rip it off. I mean, right down to the guy that sort of looked like Darth Vader, but he wasn't. He was the robot.
Yeah, so here's a list. Here's a list of the similar. There's only a couple things here. The list of the similarities between Star Wars and Starcrash. And as I read these, you remember that the director, what's his bucket, claimed he never saw Star Wars, but he never did.
He read the book, though.
He insists he read the novelization. But this is okay. So we got the overhead ship shot coming in. We have a lightsaber, which, by the way, many people enjoy this lightsaber better than Lucas's lightsaber because when it hit, they were sparks. Did you guys notice that? Anyway, moving on. We have our smuggler, so Han Solo and Stella Star. We have the one with special abilities who has the Force, our Jedi. So that would be Acton, whatever his name is, and our Jedi. We have the humanoids type robot with a neurotic personality. That would be C-3PO and L. We've got the bad guy in the cape, with or without a helmet and asthma. And then we have the ending battle. That ending battle, I don't know if you guys watch it, but some of the shots were shot for shot, what Lucas did. Like some of the fighting was shot for shot Lucas, which was interesting because they couldn't make their ships turn. Every single one of their ship shots flying through space, the ship could only go straight. Because they didn't have the capability to like.
They didn't have the motion capture stuff.
They just didn't have motion capture. Yeah. But they got those ending shots in the ending battle. I've seen a side-by-side comparison, shot for shot. This guy swoops this way. That guy swoops this way. We're going in on shooting on the thing. Like it's shot for shot.
So there's no way that's coincidence, obviously. So somebody somewhere in the
special effects. Italian. This was all done by Italian teams. They all did it. So that's the Italians going. You know what?
Clearly, we're ripping off.
Let's use this as a template. Yeah.
Well, the director maybe had
some Star Wars, sprinkle in a little bit of Harryhausen.
Right? And then there's Harryhausen in it. Like, does this movie know what it wants to be? Is it science fiction or fantasy or adventure or what is this movie exactly?
I don't know. It was kind of funny. That's what I'm saying. It was all over the place. It was just all over the place.
Stop action robot girl with big boobs.
The robots had big boobs? I guess they did.
Yes. No, not the two little pair, not the little twins. The big one that was that threw the sword and blocked the way.
Oh, that one, yeah.
It wasn't just big boobs, it was big boobs with spiky things on it. It was weird. So weird.
Well, the director was a big fan of Harryhausen stuff, so he wanted that, and he basically had wanted what they wanted was Sinbad in space. So
they got
remember the Sinbad movies that, by the way, Carolyn Monroe was in one of those. He kind of wanted that same thing, but just put it into space.
Yeah.
That was where my confusion came in because I thought I had seen this movie and I was misremembering it because I had seen The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad with Carolyn
was in The Golden Voyage of
Sinbad. That's the one, yeah. That's the one.
She did a bunch of stuff. I mean, she was kind of the sci-fi queen there for a while.
She was like the really B levels, not a scream queen,
always,
but
she'd always not scream queen, but she was like always in those. Put her in a bikini, stick her on stage, she made money.
Hey, look, you know, not for nothing, she was a beautiful girl.
Oh, she's gorgeous.
She was in the Spy Who Loved Me.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. She was in the helicopter.
She was a Bond girl.
In the boat.
When they were on the beach in the movie, I kept thinking, you know, is this the same beach they shot Spy Who Loved Me on?
It might have been. the actor. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying. I was going to comment.
I was going to say the actor that we need to talk about because your brain will explode is Marjo Gortner, the guy who played Acton or Acton or whatever.
Right.
Oh my God. What a weird story this guy has. He was what's the word when you're ahead of your
married to Caroline, wasn't he?
Yeah, no. He was married to Candy, what's her bucket?
The one that did the voice for Caroline. Yeah, because
Caroline, when this movie was being made, Caroline was married to the guy playing Elle, the robot.
That's
not
right.
The guy
that's
who
right.
voiced
him, not the guy who voiced it. Right. The guy that was in the suit. Yes, you're correct. Yeah. That's right.
But no, the guy we need to talk about is Marjo Gortner because, oh my God, what a story this man has. At 4 years old, he was, what do you call it? A child prodigy. That's what I'm looking for. He was a child prodigy and he could preach. And so his parents got him ordained as an evangelical minister or whatever at 4. And he would preach and preach and preach. And they did this for years. And somewhere in his teens or 20s, he kind of realized, oh my God, we're scamming people. This isn't right. And started coming clean about that. And it was such a wild tale, and maybe it was in his 20s, maybe it was a little bit later, but it was such a wild tale that they went ahead and made a documentary about it, and it won an Oscar. It's just the wildest thing. I can't make heads or tails. And he had this whole career, he had a whole Hollywood career when he gave up on.
He made stuff up until almost 2000.
He made stuff, and then he came clean. And no, the documentary about it was in the 70s, and it won.
Yeah,
but unbelievable. Just I couldn't. And the whole time in this movie, he has this. I've seen him and now I realize now that I'm looking, I'm like, okay, yeah, I think I've seen him around. But in this movie, he had such a 1,000-yard stare, and there was nothing
preaching.
there. It was so weird.
Yeah,
they all did. They all did, except for Plummer. They're staring into the camera, and it's like they're trying to hypnotize you to not stop watching.
Yeah, they voiced most of the voices were voiced over, primarily because they didn't want to fly people back to Italy to do the voiceover work.
Why did they need
Plummer? The only one that was the originals were Plummer, Hasselhoff. I can't think. There was another one that's in there that's not. That's his. There, I forgot which one it was, but
the other female, the other chick running around there.
There's only, but the rest of them are all, and it's so obvious. It's so badly done.
Why were they dubbed?
Well, they probably had to do it. Most films, the audio you're hearing isn't the live audio that when they shot it.
Yes, I know that, but it's still
they all go back and re-record everything. So. My guess is they had to record it, otherwise you wouldn't have heard nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it might have been.
Of course, original. I think the original they had. Well, they wanted to dub it, I think, into Italian, but clearly they're not. It's not dubbed over because they're speaking Italian.
Yeah, in a behind the scenes thing, they said they'd flub a line, and the director would say, "I don't care. We're gonna dub it anyway. It's fine. We'll use it."
Yeah.
They just don't care.
I was going to say Hasselhoff got food poisoning on this set. That's why there's the scenes with the mask, because it wasn't him.
Oh, at the beginning?
When you first see him, he's wearing the gold mask.
Oh, interesting.
And because he was so sick, he couldn't
do it. Food poisoning. Yeah, the other person
craft service table sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. The person and in Italy, you think the food would be good there. The person but you just don't know him, is the guy playing Thor. His name is Robert Tessier, and if you look at his IMDb, He is one of these guys who was in everything. Like he had,
He was a
bit part
stuntman
here, bit part
primarily
there,
too.
bit part here, bit part
You know where I recognized him from right away, which is maybe a movie we should do. Although it's not really sci-fi. Was The Deep, which was another answer to Jaws. Jacqueline Bisset and Nick Nolte. Pretty good. It really wasn't a bad movie in its own right, but it was definitely tried to be kind of a Jaws.
Yeah, he was in
Instead
everything.
of a
He
shark,
was in
it's a moray eel.
He was in Fall Guy.
But he was in that.
He
He got chewed up by a.
He was in the A-Team. He was in Manimal. You guys remember Manimal? He was in Chips.
Yeah, he was a stuntman for a lot of stuff.
He was in Vegas. Yeah. He was in Incredible Hulk. He was in Dukes of Hazzard. He was in Heart to Heart. Buck Rogers. He was everywhere in the late 70s.
Like the Barbara Luna version.
He's the male Barbara Luna of 70s television.
Just in everything.
So this gig, this Stella Star gig, didn't hurt him then.
No, not at all. No careers were harmed in the making of this
movie. Look at Hasselhoff went on to a very, very lucrative career between Knight Rider and then Baywatch.
And Baywatch, yeah.
He was, Baywatch ran for how many seasons did Baywatch run? Not that I watched any of it because it's just awful.
And the SpongeBob movie.
Yeah, that's true. And he was in Dodgeball.
And he was in Dodgeball.
yeah. Remember the Hasselhoffs, the Germans, that they were all into Hasselhoff?
And he's yelling at him in German.
Yeah, he's yelling at him in German.
Deine ist Schweine or something like that. Yeah.
Great.
So funny. Oh yeah, and then excuse me, I think you took my stapler. Stephen Root's wife, mail order bride or whoever she was. She goes with him at the end. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. We should do Dodgeball.
It's funny though. I'm surprised I enjoyed this as much as I did, and it was kind of shockingly good in a bad way. And I would watch it again, believe it or not.
The defenders of this movie are staunch defenders. Like the ones who love it really hard, and the ones who don't. But like I said, there's a lot of folks who say the lightsaber was much better done. They said the rotoscoping on the lightsaber was better. It wasn't called a lightsaber, and when it hit, there were sparks, so they liked the effects better. They acknowledge that the special effects are bad, but like you said to me, Phil, and I completely agree. I thought the stars looked awesome with all the colors. I thought that looked great.
I thought it looked like they went to the Five and Dime and bought a bunch of Christmas lights and stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, but the color palette, was pretty neat.
I actually really, that's one thing I disliked about their space. I don't think space looks like that. I don't think it has all this bright
not at all. But it just was different.
It was different, but I didn't care for it.
David, Dr. Alexander says we're making Starcrash. The other thing that they did really good were all those, when they were firing their version of phasers or laser bolt guns or what the hell they call them.
Yeah.
Those are all in-camera effects apparently, which I didn't get too hard and deep into the special effects of this movie, but at some point I saw that these are all in-camera effects, and they did a good job with those, especially in the big fight scenes when there's like shots going off everywhere. Yeah, they did a really good job.
So those of you who were probably of the age when I saw Star Wars in the theater, this was the kind of sci-fi we got before Star Wars. You know what I'm saying? These kind of effects, they were kind of campy. They were very like what we saw with the original Buck Rogers and the original Flash Gordon, and then you get up to even newer stuff in the 50s, and it was all this very campy kind of thing and just bad effects. And we took it, and I think the point I'm trying to make is this is why when you see Star Wars and you see how good the effects are in the story and it all fits together, why partly we were so like jaw dropped, because before, this is the kind of movie we got for science fiction, and it was either that or it was dystopian.
Well,
there was no space adventures were always very campy.
Yeah, the first thing that was serious sci-fi was probably 2001. You know what I mean?
No, I think there was more serious science fiction movies prior. I mean, it depends on what you consider. Like, is The Bird science fiction? Yeah. That's pretty serious. You know, I think I know what you're driving at, but I mean, when it was a budget film that the studios were doing, it was always a dystopian science fiction, at least for the late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, look at them. Planet of the Apes, Soylent Green, you know, Logan's Run. Logan's Run, by the way, if you look at the history of that, I mean, they were trying to make that back in the early 70s, and it never worked. And it wasn't until some of the other films started doing well, like Planet of the Apes, Soylent Green, and stuff, that they said, hey, we could do this. By then, that's why it's so disco-y.
Yeah, so the sci-fi had it grew up somewhere between the 50s, where it was Attack of the 50-Foot Woman and them, and the late 60s, early 70s. Somewhere right in there was a bit of a change.
Yeah, Doc said what Metropolis style. That's going all the way back to what, the 20s, right?
That's going way back.
That's certainly science fiction, no question about it. But again, it's kind of but it is dystopian.
But it is dystopian.
Well, I mean, if you're going to talk about dystopian, it's really because the nation. This is more of an American thing. The nation's coming out of Vietnam and Watergate, and
the Cold War was going on.
And yeah, but it's really when Lucas, got Star Wars made, that people thought, okay, we can, science fiction can be fun. It can be an adventure, and it can be check your brain at the door. It doesn't have to be this big, discussion about the state of society. And Star Wars blew all those other films out of the water in terms of effects. I mean, I love Logan's Run, but it's a silly concept. It's like, don't trust anyone over 30. And the effects, especially the city, looks like a tabletop, model at Disney World. You know what the joke is with Logan's Run? It was supposed to be 20, the age. Oh, really? But, but the actors they picked were all over 30. Jenny Agutter was the only one. She was 23. Farrah Fawcett was 29. Yeah. I think what's his name? The lead there. Just dropped. Can't think of his name. Yeah. Anyway, the two lead males are the two Sandmen. One was 38. The other one was 30. Like, they were almost 40. I think. Yes, they had a bumpy age up. Michael York was in his. It was 33, and the other fellow there that played his buddy was 38. So they knew they couldn't make them as 20. They wouldn't work. So they just said, "Well, we'll make it 30 instead of 20." It's still a weird concept, and it's and I think it goes back even to Lucas's THX 1138, which is another dystopian. No, the dystopian thing.
Well, Logan's Run reminds me of that one episode of Star Trek when they had the war and people would just be told, "Hey, go report to the disintegration chamber. You're done." Yeah, because they were because everything was on autopilot. This is what happened to that society in Logan's Run. They just were getting rid of people, and it became a matter of routine. Like, okay. Well, I mean, they didn't know any different because they were all born and raised in that society. So they had been going on for generations. Yeah, been going on for generations. We don't know how it was 300 years, I think, from now, supposedly. So, yeah, Taste of Armageddon was the episode you were trying to think of.
I tell you, the best part of Logan's Run is though when they make it to Washington D.C. I just love that. I think that's just brilliant.
The cat. Well, the funny thing is that it's what we always suspect. I know John Cape's going to love this, but the cats finally did take over the world. Yeah, that's what they were planning all along. They're probably the one that launched the nukes that caused the problem in the first place. But looking at you got Peter Ustinov. I know we're way off topic, but you got Peter Ustinov by himself and a shit ton of cats. The smell must have been epic. I mean, you figure all those cats. That's just got to be the stink has got to be amazing.
But there's something to be said about Starcrash, and in terms of that, it's a movie that uses traditional special effects, model work. And in an era where we live now, where everything is CG, I mean, the last movie I think I remember seeing that used traditional model making was Moon, and it was nice, even though it was bad. It was nice to see the models flying across the screen, as wonky and shaky as it was. It was nostalgic. I liked it. There's nothing like it.
It reminded me of the stuff we were trying to do in high school. Film class, because we were doing that same kind of effects because, we didn't have any money for anything else. We were doing that, the wires and across the black screen. And, we were all trying to make our version of Star Wars, every single one of us, we had no.
Which, is fair. It's okay. You should, because Star Wars at the time had cutting edge filming techniques to get those effects, and it's good for you to learn them. Like you got to learn this stuff in order to.
Well, I mean, yeah, there was groundbreaking with the whole motion capture came out of that film. So I mean, that's why I say this what we had before with these type of effects, and then we got something that looked much more realistic. And yeah, it was just a huge change all of a sudden. You know, that's why you don't really have that impact today because effects have gotten so good, especially with CGI. Sometimes you can't even tell stuff that's CGI, and they put CGI in stuff when it's not even needed, like just to change the scene a little bit, and you don't even know it. It's just seamless.
Yeah.
So you know, because there's too many cars in that parking lot, so we'll just digitally remove some, make it look better.
Or the opposite. There's not enough. Put a few.
There's not enough. We'll put some cars in there.
Those little, or hey, this was shot in spring. Can you make it fall? Yeah, it's those little things.
Little things, you know, and it's like like we talked about this when we did Jaws. It's like, would Jaws be as good a movie today without the practical effects if they were able to do, you know, the shark with the digital effects and stuff and make
how
it
are they
more
visually?
No. Wasn't there a movie where the shark was digital and they were like in an underground base and then the shark became intelligent? What was that called?
Oh, Megalodon.
Well, not Megalodon.
I don't know about that.
Oh, Deep Blue. Deep Blue. The one where what's his name is giving the speech and the shark just jumps up and eats him.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking of the one with The Rock there, or with Dwayne. That there's the two.
The Meg. There's that one.
The Meg and the Meg too. I actually enjoyed the Meg. I thought it was a fun movie. So
I think we did the Meg on this show.
Yeah, I think we might have done it. Yeah. So and there was.
Did you guys ever do the 3D movie Star Hunter: Adventures in the Forbidden Zone?
We've talked about it. I've never done that. That's an 80s one. So maybe we'll do obscure 80s movies. It's just Mary Beth doesn't want to do it. Well, you don't want to see Molly Ringwald and you want her science fiction and only.
That
one had a pretty good cast too.
And Starcrash and whatever the other one was, and I still have 2 more weeks of these bad movies to go.
So just so I know we're gonna do because I know you guys have been asking for Battle Beyond the Stars, but technically that's 1980. So do you want us to fake it and call it 70s?
You could always do Starship Invasions.
Battle Beyond the Stars for next week because that's what we originally. Really I noticed it's actually 1980.
But it would have been filmed in 1979. So you know what?
Probably was being filmed in 90. We'll call it 80s. And then
you could do Starship Invasions. That was a really bad movie.
There's a lot of bad ones out. We're not necessarily doing bad. But then we're going to wrap up the month of July with one of my favorites, which is Sleeper. So Woody Allen.
Are we going to do Sleeper?
Oh, awesome.
We're doing Sleeper because I think it's funny.
All right, Battle Beyond the Stars and then Sleeper. And then bad 70s movies time is over, right?
Yes. And then, then we hit August and we're off for 2 weeks because I'm off.
Oh, you're off, and then I'm going to Trek Hunter over.
Because I got Star Trek Las Vegas, and then I got Trek Hunter right after that. So
after Star Wars in '77, what was the very next big movie that used great effects? I'm thinking it was Close Encounters. Was there another one?
Probably Close Encounters, Alien.
Alien was 79. And Star Trek: The Motion Picture was 79, so it's like those four were like the big effects.
77. So
I would say from a film standpoint, I mean, because honestly, Battlestar Galactica, remember they did the film in the theater.
Oh, that's right.
Which had pretty good effects for what it was. Wasn't Star Wars level, but it was close. And then of course, Buck Rogers did the same thing and. 79 or 80 when they did, but that was very campy. But they did the same thing where they released the pilot into the theater, and then it actually did well. So they're like, well, let's just make it a TV show, and that's what they can. Both are Lauren Michaels, right? How's it?
Glenn Larson.
Glenn Larson. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, they're both Glenn Larson. That's why the ships. Like the Buck Rogers Starfighter was going to be the Viper, like it was going to be one of the others. So it's kind of interesting. But anyway, we're off topic again. But
We're off
hello,
topic.
welcome to our show.
No, but it's like, but they were emulating that sort of effects, excellence that Star Wars, put on the scene and stuff. And those are the movies in my mind, including Galactica and Buck Rogers, that reached that goal, that had decent looking effects, even though
they started
Galactica,
using the blue screen effects that Star Wars did too, rather than ships on a string in front of a black background. And that's when I think that was the biggest, because even though they might not have been using motion capture, by using the blue screen and then layering the film together, it was very expensive to do it, but it looked a lot better. That's why if you watch Battlestar, the 78 version TV, how many they reused the battle scenes over and over and over again.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
I mean, they had to, because that's why the show only lasted one season, is because it was just way too expensive. Regardless of how popular it was, ABC was like, we can't afford this. It's ridiculous. We're not making nearly enough money back what it cost per episode. So yeah, TV was not ready for trying to do a film quality stuff on television.
Yeah, you couldn't do it. You couldn't do good sci-fi week in and week out.
Well, I have to jump in here and just say, you're all right, except for my beloved Space 1999 that was delivering quality special effects from 1974 on.
But it was still models. I mean, you could tell that it was models. And I love the Jerry Anderson models. So please do not. I love the Jerry Anderson models. So, but it wasn't Star Wars level. Let's be honest. They got really good at crashing eagles on that show.
It was close. It was close.
They had an eagle factory.
Yeah, they crashed the same one over and over and over again.
They had an eagle factory on the moon because they crashed so many of them.
It was kind of like their crashing. Well, actually, no, their crashing eagles was better because on Galactica it was always like the same flight pattern for the.
It would just explode. Yeah, it would just be a flash of light and explode. That whereas the eagles would.
The eagle would actually crash and fall apart. Yeah, you saw pieces, right?
Yeah. No, they would.
Well, there was different ways they did it. There was of course the crashing on the moon, which was a lot of fun. But then another thing they did with Space 1999 was they would film model parts from a black background on the ceiling and light it up, and then the pieces would fall down at the camera. And that was a sort of thing that they used, especially like if you look at the first episode when the space dock explodes. That was the effect they used there. But yeah, it was very creative. And I kept thinking during Starcrash, they really could have used the guys who were working on 1999 on that, because they would have really done those spaceship effects right, and really got it going. But I
agree, they would have been better. They would have been better because UFO had really good effects. I mean, it was still the same kind of thing. It looked very Thunderbirds-esque in a lot of ways when they did the miniatures on Earth. It was easier to fake that stuff in space than if you had an Earth-based. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like when they had the mobiles or do something, or those were kind of obvious. But, Anderson had perfected that technique by doing Thunderbirds and Supercar and all those Super Marionation shows that he had done. They had really perfected the miniatures. So as best you could, I think, with what they were doing. So,
by the time 77, late 77, 78 rolled around, Brian Johnson had been hired away by the big boys. And he was doing Empire and Alien and the rest,
Yep.
Our audience has tuned us out, and our audience is now currently having a debate over how many Eagles versus how many shuttles Voyager had.
Yeah, Voyager was another one where they seemed to have an unlimited supply of shuttles.
Unlimited number of shuttles to
destroy. The point where they actually had to build one. They had an episode where he had to build a shuttle. The what was it? The Delta Flyer?
Yeah.
Did that shuttle turn him into a salamander and he went on a date with Janeway?
I don't know if it was that or was another thing he built. Yes, that went transwarp or some crap. Yes, that was
all right.
Probably the worst episode in Star Trek ever.
There's an episode for you to talk about.
We've discussed it actually. I think in worst episodes. I think we
did a worst episodes. Yeah,
we series of it. We've discussed that one. Yeah. Well, until you got to Discovery, and then
back to Caroline running around in a bikini, which just would change without even in the middle of a scene, not a middle of a scene, but in the middle, like with no warning, it just would change. Like 1 minute she had on
there was a lot of continuity errors.
And then suddenly it was like a full bikini, and then suddenly it was like a halter
There's a lot
style
of continuity errors with her outfits.
with her clothing.
It's kind of a
honestly,
joke of the movie.
I didn't care. I loved it all.
Nobody cared. As long as the less she was wearing, the better the movie was.
Yes.
It was very William Ware Tice, you know.
I actually really loved her hairstyle too. I thought her hair was amazing.
She just had long flowing hair.
It wasn't really what was so. Yeah, it was nothing special. I guess it was.
I don't know. I just it was the close-ups. I just loved the close-ups of her face and stuff.
And very 70s hair. I thought good makeup. Whatever.
I think that's what it was.
John likes Hasselhoff's hair. Hasselhoff's hair was and it's soft, curly.
His didn't change either. You know, he never got rid of the 70s perm. He still has the 70s perm.
He still looks like that. Working. It must be naturally curly.
I imagine it is, yeah.
It's
but
like
you can tell that was the look because it was the late 70s in that disco, because even what's his name, Major there, had the same kind of do.
Oh, Marjo, yeah.
And now originally that character was supposed to be a hideous alien.
Yeah, and he was like, I'm not wearing
to have makeup on or put, that any kind of prosthetic. So
and the studio was like, all right, whatever, that saves us money, fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, they didn't care.
They didn't really
care. They just rolled with it. I wish they would have bothered to like flesh out, like explain who he was and where he's from and why he had powers and abilities. Notice I'm using air quotes.
There was a lot of things that they just kind of left on the table.
Just left it like, oh yeah.
Well, do you think it could have been like a blank spot in the script, and while they were filming it, somebody said, "Hey, we have to make this work logically," and so they said, "Okay, say this." That's the way it felt to me. There were
a couple lines that felt like they were tucked in for that, but I would have liked some explanation as to who Acton, whatever his name was, where he came from, what were these abilities he had, and why and how he had them. That would have been nice. And she was with him. He was her faithful partner or her faithful co-pilot, but then suddenly she's like, "Oh, you have this power. How does she not know?"
Didn't know anything. She didn't know anything about it, like his history, and then like the sword comes out randomly.
And then all of a sudden in the middle, she's going to die. And she's like telling Elle, yeah, I respect you so much. You're a great non-adversary or whatever. I don't know what the hell she said.
Well, that was the funniest thing because the two guys were the cops that were busting them in the beginning of the movie. And then they were like, they became like allies. Suddenly they're allies. And because it's like they get arrested, they're going to jail. And then like 2 seconds later, no, we have to release you from jail because we need you to go
work together to fight whatever.
Get the Count Zarth guy.
Yeah,
and find this ship that's apparently, which I didn't get, is if the main ship in the beginning crashed on the planet of where they end up on, why did all the other shuttles end up like halfway across the galaxy? Remember, because they were going from shuttle to shuttle to find the survivors of this ship. And the space monsters was just I love it. The red space monsters was just like a lava lamp.
That was great. That was so great. I love that.
Like Star Trek would do something like that.
Yeah, kinda. But it wouldn't have been. They wouldn't have called it Space Monsters. It would have been like
no. They would have had names.
Entity. Well, they did. They call it. That was Obsession. No, not Obsession. What was the one with the Lights of Zatar?
Yeah, the Lights of Zatar.
It was just flashing light in a bubble, and the companion was kind of the same thing. The companion was the same thing.
Oh, don't get me started on Companion. I'll go down the rabbit hole on that.
Well, is there an episode that Phil doesn't like? There was. Darren was talking about somebody that really. Who's he talking about that really loves that episode? And I can't remember.
Lights of Zeta or Companion?
Yeah, no, the one. What is that one with the companion? What is it called? With Zephyr Cochrane?
Metamorphosis, right?
Metamorphosis, yeah, Metamorphosis, right. So, yeah, I can't remember who it was. That's not one of my favorite episodes. Other than you get to see a lot of the Galileo, as far as the him trying to fix it and stuff. There's a lot of Galileo in there. Anyway, I digress.
It's a very patriarchal. I can't say it. Episode.
Article.
Thank you.
Yeah, say camaraderie.
I can't do that either. I can't speak anymore because I've watched Starcrash.
That was a big on Roy. Sorry, Roy.
Roy's ruined that for us forever.
Roy's ruined camaraderie.
Among other things, yes.
Camaraderie.
Yeah, I can't even do it.
Camaraderie.
Anyway, so
Rico, does Starcrash deserve a reboot?
Yes.
Does it? Well, does it? I mean,
if they can mature the script a little, grow it up a little,
But the story was so disjointed. Like it didn't make any sense. It was just like it was like they were writing the story to fit scenes. Like we need this battle, so like we'll write the story so it fits this scene, and then we're gonna have we need the Amazon, so they're gonna land on this planet where there's Amazons, and then it was just like just seemed like it was all over the place to me. It was just like, where is this movie going?
Yeah,
they could have just stayed on the Amazon planet for my money. I was happy there. I don't understand why we had to leave.
Happy.
and the Amazon leader didn't do anything else. Like I thought she'd pop up again later and whatever, but no.
No, that's what I mean. They went to all these other places and they were just filler to get to the last planet.
It was just a giant quest movie. They were just questing. That's it.
Or maybe more like a choose your own adventure book.
So if you haven't seen this movie, it's almost so bad it's one of those so bad it's good movies. It's like right on the teetering. It's more watchable than Dark Star.
It's on the bubble. Yeah, it's more watchable than
Dark Star. Was just like I found it struggling to watch that movie. I was just like, okay. But this movie, at least I could watch, and it was like it did flow, albeit a bit erratically. So
I think of it in terms of it has a place in cinematic history. It's like part of the Star Wars effect, and I feel the same thing about Dark Star. Dark Star is, an early work from these student filmmakers, and by the way, the documentary, I did watch the documentary after your little examination of Dark Star. It was quite good. It was really, really quite good.
It really shed a lot of light, and it made you appreciate it more. Yeah. I need a documentary for this movie so that I can appreciate this movie more.
I also watched the 50th anniversary of Jaws documentary.
That was excellent.
And when I watched that, I realized that all these guys, Lucas and Spielberg and Dan O'Bannon and all these people, these were all people who, Carpenter, they all knew each other, and they all were like appreciative of each other's work and stuff. Like Lucas is like there going down to the set of Jaws, just to support him and stuff.
Yeah.
And these guys, they're like, around then too. Yeah. It's like what is it? The Rat Pack, of young directors, that sort of thing. And I don't know if that sort of brotherhood, or camaraderie, exists anymore, in terms of filmmaking.
Who was it? Because it was somebody when Lucas was doing Star Wars, somebody came up with the idea for that opening crawl, and it was one of the other directors. I forgot who it was. Maybe somebody in the chat remembers, but there was one of the guys said, "You know what it needs? It needs this so that we have a setup." And that's how they got the whole opening.
Was it one of the directors or was it Marsha?
No, I think it was one of his friend directors that said it. Or it wasn't
Coppola?
Somebody directly.
Could have been Coppola.
It might have been. I don't remember. I'd have to go back and look at one of the documentaries. But it wasn't Lucas's original idea. Whoever watched it, some of the dailies said, this needs context in the beginning so people get what's going on. And that's where that scroll came from, was that they put that in. Of course, now it's iconic, obviously, for Star Wars. But but just getting back, that if you can watch that Jaws at 50, I believe it's on Disney or Hulu. One of the streaming services has it. You can watch it. And it comes on the anniversary Blu-ray 4K ultra high def DVD.
Yeah, I need to check that out.
It's really good. It's an hour and a half, so it's not like it's 15 minutes and it's just something they stuck on. No, it's an hour and a half documentary. And I knew a lot about Jaws before that, and I learned some more stuff about Jaws after that.
Oh, wow. Yeah. In all fairness, there is a documentary on this movie on YouTube, but it's in Italian. And you can turn the subtitles on. That's fine. I just, for some reason, it didn't have the same impact. Like the information did not go into my brain quite the same way it would have had it meant in English. But so yeah, I need to check out the Jaws documentary. That sounds good.
It really is worth watching. Yeah, and I know it's on one of the major streaming services.
And you get a sense of this group of directors, these young people, Spielberg and Lucas and Coppola and all of them, this whole crew, which, Dark Stars are related to also. And then I feel like that era in filmmaking just doesn't exist anymore. Now there's just too much at stake. There's too much money. Everybody wants an Avengers movie now, that sort of thing. So I miss it. I miss that sort of fun filmmaking, that fun you had with Star Wars and Alien and Close Encounters. They were all really spectacular, not because of the way the movies were, but because of the people who made them as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, and I think the 70s, especially the late 70s, from the mid 70s on, I would say there was a certain magic into the early 80s of filmmaking. That 10 year, 75 to 85, we'll call it. There was a 10 years of movie making there that really was quite special. And I don't think we've seen it. And I think partly is because we've gotten beaten down with so much special effects, and everybody thinks that's, what I'm saying, it got to the point where special effects didn't make the movie, like we needed good writing and good stories.
Yeah, we still need a story.
I think everything is just so much flash now. And it's competitive because it's hard to get people to go to the theater. I mean, I get it. They're struggling. Theaters are struggling. And there's so much stuff on television, so there's not a lot of drive to go to the theater.
And the writing tends to be better on television.
There's a lot of good stuff on television. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff.
There's a lot of good stuff, as the Emmy list that I rattled off at the top of the show.
So I mean, so I think our theaters dying? Probably. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, I guess unless you're going for the IMAX experience or something like 3D, which not a fan of. What's the point?
Air conditioning.
Most people have really good setups in their homes. We're not watching it on a little 25-inch color television, and and on a tube that's standard definition with a speaker that big, So we don't need to go to the theater. We got it in our home.
Yeah, or then Hollywood delivers you something like Passengers, which is like, I almost never, want to demand my money back. But after that movie, I was like, I should get my money back.
I did see that movie. I saw that. I didn't go to the theater. I saw it like on HBO or something, or whatever it was on. I did see it. Yeah, it's kind of dull.
It's just stupid. There's just so many stupid things that happen in that, and it just the movie made me very angry.
What's the difference between that stupidity and Starcrash stupidity? Like, why are you like, yeah, Starcrash is stupid and I love it, but then you're like, oh, Passengers is stupid and I hate it.
Well, nothing really happens in Passengers. So
that's true. This is the one with what's his bucket and what's her face, Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, it's like they're stuck on the planet.
Yeah,
he wakes her up because he's a dick.
Because he's a dick and he wants her to die too.
Yeah.
That's basically what happens. And she and it's like, it's basically metamorphosis. She says, okay, I'll give up my entire life because you were lonely and you needed somebody to scratch your itch, and they make it, they sugarcoat it and stuff. Starcrash, I'm watching that and I'm saying, well, somebody had a lot of fun putting this together. Somebody had a lot of fun building these models. Somebody had a lot of fun, with the background.
Filming the thing, yeah.
Yeah, look, there's that sort of thing that's going on in Starcrash. I feel like they're looking back at me and just like, giving me like, the wink. It's like, you get this, we get this. We're just having a good time.
It's just like in 52577. Sure, you can see that our sets are cardboard and you can see the strings holding up our ships, but oh, look at the fun we're having. That line delivered by Austin Pendleton in 52577 will stay with me for the rest of my life. Oh, but
that's basically the point.
And that's really the whole thing of anybody doing anything on a low budget. You're doing it because you love it for some reason. Bill was saying, as far as watching movies in theaters, is some movies are better with a large group, just not many. I don't know. I guess. I don't know. Certain films certainly have more impact. We talked about that. But anyway, we are past the hour.
We are past time.
Thanks for joining us, even if only in voice.
Very last minute, yeah.
And
I was having a good time watching the movie. I wasn't like trying to like filibuster my way into it or anything.
It's fine. It's all good.
If you obviously are passionate about this film, we were happy to have somebody who was.
Well, it was.
Talk about it.
So, you know what, too? It's a celebration here. I was enjoying the film, and I actually have a working sink and a working dishwasher now. So for the first time in a month and a half.
Congratulations and enjoy your new
kitchen.
kitchen.
Congratulations on your new kitchen.
There's nothing like running water.
So what if Roy got coming up?
Roy is off this weekend because it's his birthday. He is celebrating. Happy birthday, Roy, from all of us here at Sci-Fi Distilled. Phil, tell the audience what you got going on this week.
Not much this week. I'm going to have the Helios people on at some point in the future because they were just on Roy's show. There's a huge article about Bill McNulty in the Stony Brook Press, and you can find that on the Captain Phil's Planet Facebook group. I got my regular show with Bill Thursday, my show 4:00 on Thursday afternoon, Friday Night Freeform. But, and this is great, I will be at the townwide yard sale in Coxsackie selling lots of plastic toys. So if you want to come down and buy a bunch of toys, that would be great. And
save some of those toys for Trek-Conderoga, because
Oh no, and that's the other thing is I'm recharging all my stock for Trek-Conderoga. And I had a lovely conversation with you, Mary Beth, this morning about our plans for Trek-Conderoga, and I'm going to be doing a panel about the Star Trek book covers from the original episode novelizations by James Blish, and it's going to be a creative writing exercise. So that'll be fun. Yes. Unless I get bumped. If I get bumped, that's okay. I'll just sit at my table and talk about that.
We'll make it work. And I can maybe tease one more thing. I think, Captain Phil, you might be having Rizzo and Rakowski from Sci-Fi Distilled on
Yeah, what day did you book?
The 31st.
Perfect.
You book us, buddy. We don't book you.
Yeah, you book us.
All you have to do is pick up the phone, guys, and you're on anytime you want.
It's been a hot minute. We haven't been on for a while.
We haven't been on a while. I think,
Yeah. So. I missed you.
I know. I think the last one was that political.
Yeah, we came on for politics, which was fun. We had fun.
That was fun. Yeah.
The most fun one I ever did was Friday Night Freeform when we all brought our songs lists. Or was it just me? Maybe I brought my song list and you played all my music. I love that. That was just me for a whole hour.
We can do that again, but your music is so depressing. It's so emo. I'm like, oh my God.
Well, I'll come, Phil, and I'll bring some of my Tiki-Yaki orchestra.
Yeah, I actually have to hit that at some point. I do not believe we've actually done that on the radio, so that would be a fun thing.
I think it's time for some. Yeah, I think it's time. Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right.
But thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. It was a great way to spend the afternoon.
Pleasure,
it was nice to you.
So thank you again. So all right. So next week, Battle Beyond the Stars, and then Sleeper. So we'll see you till then. Live long and prosper. And as always, may the force be with you. Always.